This is Ice Cream Gecko, and today we're going to take a look at the Wagner Rustipani Salami. And this is a more classic approach to a pizza-like item. We've got lighter bread than on the last one, the spinach Rustipani. And of course we've got salami. We've got salami that's smoked on beech wood and is now sitting on tomato basil sauce. From the picture it looks quite nice, quite pleasing. The salami slices seem to be a bit thicker than you would expect them to be. Let's get this out of the package. Let us take a look at it before we put that in the oven. So it does look very different from the Rustipani spinach, leaf spinach. It's quite buried under this cheese. It seems as if we had different cheese sorts here, but maybe that's just the stuff that they put on, you know, in the midst of making this, and this white stuff is the one they put on in the last minute before freezing this. I do not know. We will find out. But so far, so good. Let's get this into the oven. The item is now prepared. I left it in the oven a bit longer than last time with the leaf spinach Rustipani. Maybe this was now 1 minute too long. It's a bit too dark around the edges. I do like that, but maybe it's not the best for the review. Anyways, it still looks alright. But I've got to say, in terms of the composition of colours and everything, the leaf spinach one made a bit of a better impression, to me at least. Slice this open. Slice this into quarters. Alright, so this is again a quite a thick dough with a bit of toppings on top. It does smell. It does actually smell of mozzarella. That's quite interesting. Which is a weird thing to say, right? I mean, they say there's mozzarella on here, and it so says on the ingredients list. But usually it doesn't really smell like mozzarella, even if there is mozzarella on there. This one does. Interesting, pleasant surprise, certainly. It smells like not these thin pizzas, like these thick pizzas that you actually get in Italy. Although they smell more like mozzarella when they're baked. This one doesn't as much, but still quite nice, quite nice. I'll give this a little bite now. So I'm not really impressed by the first piece of the tasting that I just had. It is not really exciting in terms of flavor. That comes of course also from the uneven salami distribution on here. You can see on the sides there isn't much going on in that regard. Mozzarella taste? Nah, not really all that much. And I don't know, it's a bit weird. Like the regular Wagner pizzas, they've got a nicer sauce on there. There could be a bit more sauce on here. But yeah, well, let's see what this tastes like with the salami slices. Now go for a piece with many salami slices. Shall we do that? Yes, we do. Okay, got a few on here. Let's see how this one is. The salami pieces themselves taste quite nice, but still, the mix is weird. Like the salami is nice, and there is mozzarella on there, but the thin tomato sauce with the thick dough and those rather few toppings on top, it doesn't really taste all that great. It tastes a bit cheap, if I'm honest. I'm going to go for the final slice for this review. Probably take like a section right here, and then I'll draw my conclusion. But so far, I've got to say I'm not all that impressed. So by licking the knife, I had a bit of onion taste in my mouth, a bit of onion taste that I did not have before. Maybe I get a bit more like with this slice. There were quite a few onions on the packaging, at least in the picture. I hoped to see some of those and taste some of those, but so far only on the knife. Let's go for the final one. So it was on the horizon. It tastes a bit more oniony than the other ones and the other parts of this thing. And this was the first slice, the first piece of this that was enjoyable. It was nice and juicy. That's really what these things have to be, you know, they have to be nice and juicy. Maybe I shouldn't have left this in the oven for 1.5 minutes longer than it should have been, but still, it shouldn't lose so much of its juiciness, not on the sides either. Again, this was the best slice so far, the best part of it, but I'm afraid to say that this is not really enough. I will go for this one right here now, and then I'll draw my conclusion, because I got, you know, I'm confident, but let's see if this can really turn things around. So I couldn't resist, I had to try the whole thing. I've got mixed feelings about this. In the end, about a third of this thing was actually enjoyable. The rest was too dry. There was too little sauce on these 2/3 of the Rustipani. And the salami could have been distributed better. Definitely. It was quite concentrated in the middle, and the sides didn't really get much of that. So something I have to say is, at the end of this video, this needs a bit more sauce on the far ends of the Rustipani. The center is fine. If the whole thing was like the center, it would have been completely fine, like a total recommendation. It was quite good. But there's just too much of this thing that's just a chore to eat. That's not really all that enjoyable. And 2/3 of a piece is, yeah, that's not a good result. Sorry about that, my battery died on me, but I put a new one in, so I can now babble on for hours. No, what I wanted to say is that this needs more sauce. If this had more sauce, if the salami was better spread, then it would be fine, but like this, I don't know, not really my thing. Maybe I'm going to try it out again at some point and just leave it in the oven for as long, but then the mozzarella doesn't really melt. So you got half melted mozzarella, that's no great either, isn't it? That's the thing I wanted to avoid with this one that I did in the spinach Rustipani review. Mixed feelings about this, the Rustipani Salami. We'll see how it goes in the future. I will definitely try this out at some point again, because I can remember that last time I had it was amazing, but this time it really wasn't. Maybe they did some savings calculations with the tomato sauce, who knows. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I hope I'm going to see you soon. Until then, goodbye.